Hi there, Amy here from Click Roll Boom. Today I'll be chatting to Cambridgeshire Newcomers Diamond Country Dance Club. So I guess the first question is for anyone who's never heard of Diamond Country Dance Club, who are you?
That's a good question. Who are we? We are a four-piece band from Cambridgeshire. I think our music's been described in various ways, but I think largely sort of indie pop rock, I guess. I don't know. Indie's probably, yeah.
Funkiness in there. I don't know. I guess we don't really focus on anything in particular. We just write some music that we like and hope everyone else likes it. But I think, yeah, I guess in terms of the members.
My name's Sam, I'm on vocals.
I'm James, I'm on bass.
I'm Ryan, I play the guitar, and missing today we've got Lisa, our wonderful drummer.
Yeah, we've been going now for about, is it 1.5 years now we've been going?
Yeah.
Playing a gig in properly
too.
Yeah.
You were a lockdown band, were you? Did you form during lockdown?
Pretty much.
It was. I mean, it's sort of just snowballed a little bit. We just started it during lockdown, sort of in and out of the lockdowns, just playing together. Like, oh, we should get together, play a bit of music. Then sort of went to a few pubs, did some cover stuff, went down well, and then started writing our own things. And people seem to like it, and we've had a lot of really great opportunities. So we just hope we can keep it going.
Is this the first band you've all been in?
It's not the first band. So James is my brother.
Okay.
We were both in a band together when we were 16, 17, 18, that sort of region. And then I was in a band at uni, but I'd say for all of us, this is our first, what I'd say, proper band.
Giving it a go.
Yeah.
Were your previous bands cover bands or original bands?
Primarily covers with a few originals thrown in.
A few bad originals thrown in.
Yeah.
Cool. What is the origin behind your band name? How did you come up with that?
It's one of those things, isn't it? How do you come up with a band name? Spent a long time going over a few names that come out quite generic, but band name thought it's a little bit different, and it's an anagram of something a little bit cheeky, but
okay.
Only one person's been able to work it out so far, so
a little challenge.
I'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna have to try that now.
It's also a fun name to have because you would have thought 4 words is quite easy to remember, but absolutely no one is proven capable. We get a lot of variations.
Do you know, I've got it written down. I've got it written down in front of me because I was so scared I was going to get the words in the wrong order.
You're not the first.
I actually, I think that's good. People don't often write down in front of them, and then they just go for it, and it's like, I get that wrong.
When I wrote the single review, the first single review I wrote for you guys, I think every time I wrote it, I'd written the words in a different order. Get through and correct it. I think we touched on this a minute ago, but how would you describe your sound?
I mean, I think it's, I don't know, I think every song's a bit different. Like you said, I think there's bits of punk in there, I think. And we had Britpop the other day, didn't we? Sort of mention people said that I really sort of, I mean, I don't know, it's very generic, isn't it? But I think indie sort of captures really most of what we do. But I think there's definitely like pop and rock influences in there.
It's quite cool what you do. It's a bit different. It's a bit sort of outside of the norm, outside of any genre stereotypes, really. Yeah,
I think the 3 singles we've released as well so far, they're all very different in terms of their feel of songs. So I think, I don't know. I mean, finding our sound, but like you said, we're just writing stuff we enjoy writing and we think sounds good. So yeah.
Is that deliberate that they all sound different? Did you go out with the intention we want to make 3 songs, or we want to make an album of songs but they all sound different, or is it just like a natural? That's how it happened to be.
I think it's a little bit of both, probably. I think there's across all 4 of us, we've got a lot of different influences across genres and decades, and all just sort of an appreciation for a vast variety of music. But I think in the same sense that once we've written a song and we like that, I think we then want to move on and be like, what else can we do? What else can we create? And I think it naturally just takes us in different directions.
I suppose with it being your debut release, it's kind of about showcasing everything you've got in some ways. So rather than just sticking to a safe, sort of finding a niche almost.
Yeah, I think definitely. And obviously we haven't been doing it very long, and I'm sure as we go along, we'll realise what people like and what people don't like as much. And
as well as the songs themselves have been sort of the ones we've released so far have been written by different people, haven't they? Like, you two wrote your songs, and then there was one that sort of I came up with the lyrics for that Ryan then wrote the music too. So it's been a bit, like you said, different influences at different times. And
yeah, I think as well, it's just something we absolutely don't focus on in terms of thinking about where does this fit in and how do they tie together. And it's, you know, there are loads of ideas that get thrown about and loads that you know don't follow up on. But
if you think about it too much, it isn't natural. It's forced. It's kind of set to a formula. It isn't true to your personality. It's true to what you want to do because you're feeling like you've got to follow a particular formula.
Yeah, that's it. I think we very much are. If it sounds good, let's do it. There is, no one just listens to one genre of music and it's like, no, I do like that. So it's like,
absolutely
follow that same pattern. Yeah, when you're releasing stuff, it has to sort of follow some sort of logic. But I think when it comes around to sort of EP releases and things like that, I think it will tie together nicely with the other songs that we've got.
Interesting. Keeps it interesting. So who would you say are your biggest influences? Like,
I mean, that's a big question. I mean, I guess if you look at the indie side, we'll be Arctic Monkeys fans, more niche bands like the Raytons.
Yeah, the Raytons definitely.
Sort of punky influences like Chats, the Australian band, Idols, Shame in there. But then on the pop front, I think it was a bit Miley Cyrus, Harry Styles, like that. But it really is. Yeah, it really comes across the sort of, and even like heavier classic rock. I think we've got in there as well. And
yeah, if you go back to sort of what we sort of were raised on, being like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, and you know, there some of our stuff you can see that influence. I think you can sort of pick and see you know, where each thing comes from. But
I guess I say probably the core thing now probably is that sort of, we said sort of, if you're going to put us in a box sort of thing, it's the sort of indie music, and I think that is primarily where we sit now, and I guess more of what we listen to. But I mean, even that as a genre now is so widespread.
Do you come from musical families?
Me and James do not in no way, shape or form. No.
My dad used to play guitar a little bit, and he was quite a good singer. But I wouldn't describe my family as very particularly musical. No.
Lisa, on the other hand, very much does. Yeah. Her whole family.
Her dad is a drummer.
Oh, okay.
Brother is a drummer.
And singer and guitarist.
Multi-instrumentalist. And she's a drummer as well. So yeah, she very much does.
So are you all self-taught musicians, or have you had any sort of training or lessons or whatever?
No, I think we had lessons of a guitar teacher like when we were younger sort of thing, but really more of a self-taught sort of, no classical training, anything like that.
Lisa's very much that sense, in the sense that she was sort of, you know, we basically asked her if she wanted to drum in the band before she'd basically knew much about playing drums.
Lisa had a drunken interview that she didn't even know about at the time, really. To get into the band.
Probably quite a good story, actually. So Lisa is one of my best friend's girlfriends, and was just around my house at one point. We'd had a few beers, and she's brought up. At this time, we used to have a different lineup. Sam was the drummer. Sam played as well. We did have a singer. They left. Sam decided he wanted to go on vocals. So okay, we'll have a look for a drummer then. Had Lisa around mine a bit drunk. She said, "Oh, I really want to be in a band." And I was like, "Well, I'm in a band that doesn't have a drummer." Sort of one of those things you say when you've had a few. I can play like a little bit of very basic drums, and I was like, "Okay, just try doing this." Not actually expecting it as like an interview.
And you do have an electric kit.
Yeah, and I've got an electric kit. Yeah, it wasn't just air drums. But I said, try a bit of this, played a few things I know, and straight away off the back of that, she was instantly better than me. I don't know, just such a natural. Within 2-3 weeks, she could play half of the sort of cover songs we were playing at the time.
We probably had another lockdown as well to just dedicate to doing that. Nothing else to do.
Yeah, massive natural at the drums.
Yeah, cool. When you're writing songs, where does your inspiration come from for what you're writing about?
I mean, I guess we've all sort of written songs. I'd say for me personally, I will take something from my life that I can sort of think of a few lines about and then exaggerate it a lot to make it more interesting or more fun. But yeah, to me, I have to write about something that means something to me. So for example, our last release, one was called Pretty Drunk. That song was about, essentially it's about having a good time going out with your friends and drinking, but then there's sort of a story arc to it that is exaggerated and a bit more fun and a bit more high energy to it.
Yeah, I think I mean, yeah, it's like you said, it comes from different places, isn't it, for everyone? I think so. I mean, I've not contributed loads in terms of the writing as such, but some, you know, sort of lyrics I've contributed, trying to take sort of a look at society and things like that, and looking at I don't know, people's lives and things like that, and I don't know, societal expectations on people. So I think that's something that comes across in some of our songs as well.
Writing takes a bit more of a punk influence then, sort of looking at society and the sort of more political side of things.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah, what's come across in the one I've written for, basically. But
yeah, no, it's yeah, some of the sort of future songs we started working on and things, I think that definitely does from your writing style come in, and that's good. Like we sort of said about how we've all got different writing styles and things. It's quite nice to have.
That's good. I think it's good that you mix up the songwriting, because again, that keeps it fresh and keeps it interesting and brings in different perspectives. Do you ever sit and write songs together? So we'll sit down and just kind of all write the lyrics, or is it all very much one of you writes it and then you all write the music or whatever?
We have had sessions like that, haven't we?
Yeah, but we've never really sat down. I don't think
we more pass it around.
Yeah, I don't think it would work if we sort of sat down and said, all right, let's write this. I think it'd be really difficult to find a flow. What we have tended to do is bring ideas when they're really rough, whether it just be music or whether it be some lyrics that are unfinished, and then say like, okay, passing on to you, what's your input? I know for one of our unreleased songs, Ryan had written a chorus to it and then just gave it to me and said, write around it. So in terms of like how you have your influence to songs, I would say similar. It's much easier to write about like experiences and things like that. But in that case, I kind of had a really loose theme. And then, I mean, I could have taken it in loads of different directions from the chorus. It was quite vague. But then it's just like telling a story and having those different ideas. It's not always one thing, I would say.
So is the music, is that written as a group thing? Do you all write, or do you tend to write the music? If you write the lyrics, do you write the music as well?
It tends to be me or Ryan that will write the music. I tend to start with an idea on the guitar and build up from there. We have done it from the lyrics before, but I think I personally find that a bit more difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the way I would do it if I was doing it, because Ryan is the guitarist and is more talented than me, but I can play a little bit, and I will take an idea, and I will usually have like a really rough version of it.
Yeah.
And I would probably then go and write the words to it, and then I would take it to the group.
Okay.
It would largely be a pass to Ryan, make this better, please.
So it's interesting that you come up, because most bands would come up with the words and then find the music to go to the words. It's interesting that you do it in the reverse order.
Yeah, I think that's the way we found it easiest so far. I think it's not to say that like we haven't done that, because we have, haven't we? But I just think it's, I don't know, I mean, you guys might speak to this as you're the ones primarily writing the songs, but it might just be easier if you think of the music first. Something comes to you, doesn't, like a riff or something.
Yeah, I mean, when I write, it more comes from playing around with the guitar, find like a nice riff or something, build around it, have a few words I might go with it. But I know for me personally, being a guitarist, for me it's more about the music than it is about the words.
Really?
So I can quite often be like, all right, I really like this, I really like this riff, I've got all these ideas for it.
Figure out some words later.
Here's a few words, here's a theme, like whatever the words are, you go for it. But like, I want to do this with the guitar sort of thing.
Would you ever do like an instrumental track? Would you ever go down that route, or would you always put words to it?
I'll be out of the job.
In my ego, I'd love to. I just don't think anyone else would want to hear it.
Cool. So what's been your biggest shows to date?
Oh, where have we played recently?
We've had quite a few recently. Sort of past few months, we've been building it up a lot more, getting a bit more traction. I think we started off. So this year we played. We did the 6-6 bar in Cambridge, sort of beginning of the year. We then played the Junction in Cambridge. That's probably our biggest venue so far.
Yeah.
That was really good. We did
someone else.
Pardon?
Is that supporting someone at the Junction?
It wasn't. It was, I don't know how to explain that night. They basically put a night on with like loads of up and coming bands.
Okay.
So there was like 5 bands all playing the same night. And yeah, it was a really good night, I think.
Was that in the main room, Junction 1?
Yeah, main room.
That is quite a big venue.
Yeah, it is.
Daunting?
I think
that's all right.
It is.
Back then, I think it's one of those things. Back then, yeah, it was. But we look back now, and it's one of those things because as we've done some more and more venues, and we'll say a few venues we've done, it's always daunting when it's the next stage up. But really, you're always having to sort of fake it till you make it type situation. So you're always going out acting like, yeah, this is what we do all the time. So
yeah.
you just sort of get
We're
that
fine, you know.
I think we're getting to that point now, aren't we, where it's rather than going out and being really daunting of like, oh, this is really nerve-wracking, it's like, no, we're going to put on a show.
Get your game face.
Yeah, this is what we do. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, we played some other big gigs this year. We've done Lexington in London, and the Fiddler's Elbow in Camden in London.
I played Strawberry Fair in Cambridge. Yeah.
So is there anything you do particularly to psych yourself up before you go on stage? Have you got any routines, rituals, anything like that?
I actually do a little bit. I don't know how much everyone else knows, but whenever I'm driving to a gig,
It's an exclusive, by the way. I don't know.
I think I know.
I always listen to Motley Crue on really loud volume.
Okay.
Not the music we play, so it doesn't really help the influence, but it psychs me up.
That's what Dwight does on The Office before he goes in for a sales pitch. So.
It's a good psych up there. It gets me in the mood, but I do have to sort of, I think generally we're all quite relatively reserved people. You do have to, you can't go out there and just play your instrument.
Yeah.
It's out there to put a show, so you do have to put like a game face on and be confident about it.
Challenge of finding the perfect number of beers. Can you have enough to make you confident?
That's the pre-game ritual.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
So you sound like you've played quite a variety of venues, quite a variety of sizes. Has there been a favourite show so far?
That's a good question. I really like the Lexington. I really liked that. I think just in terms of the crowd, that was the best for me. Really responsive to sort of everything. Not that they're unresponsive usually, of course not. But as in, I just think that was a really great crowd that night, and that was a really fun time. Really, sort of responsive as a frontman to what I was doing, which was really good for me.
Yeah, I think I would probably say Strawberry Fair. Just because it was really cool to play a festival.
Was that this year?
Yeah. It was only, what was it, about 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just fresh in the mind, but that was the first time we've sort of played a proper festival.
Yeah.
And we were lucky. We were put on a really good stage, had really good sound, and yeah, it was just so much fun to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you ever find because obviously being a smaller band, and I'm guessing sometimes you'll support bigger bands and the people that are there aren't necessarily your fans, never heard you before. Do you find that the crowd can be quite reserved and often you're playing to a room of people that are stood halfway back in the venue?
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah.
How does that? Because I often look around when I'm at gigs and I see people standing back and they're talking amongst themselves, and I look at the band and I just think that must feel horrible. Does that make you anxious? Does that bother you, or do you just get on with it?
I think if you dwell on that too much, you just lose sight of what, that obviously it's meant to entertain them, but it's meant to be like fun for us as well. Like we love going out and playing music and having a bit of fun with it. And I think that if you, like you said, it depends what you're there for. If you're there to say support a bigger band, you go in sort of knowing then maybe not there for you specifically. Sort of our job to try and win them over, and I think the best way of doing that is going out there and just having a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a mentality thing, isn't it? Yeah, they're not going to know who you are and they're not going to know your songs, but that's your job to change that. And I think you kind of have two options. You go out there and match their energy and just sort of be really reserved and play really averagely, or you do what you would do if everyone knew all of your songs and hope that they respond. it's not always the case. I mean, when we played at Club 85, I think we were supporting a band that just played a really different type of music to us, and it was a bit of a tough crowd.
Yeah, we weren't going to win over that crowd realistically, but
that's quite hard.
Yeah,
just go out and enjoy yourself. And
yeah, you do wonder in those situations if the promoters should have maybe thought a bit more closely about who they were putting on a lineup together.
Yeah, it does happen, but I mean, it's always with promoters, you've got to take every opportunity you can. So
well, exactly, yeah. Just get your name out there, get your music heard.
Yeah, it's probably a good venue as well. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a nice out there.
I suppose even if they weren't necessarily music fans for your type of music, if you could win one person over in that room, even if there was say 50 in there and you only won over one, it's still one more person to stream you water.
We did that night because we sold one T-shirt that night.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It's always worth it.
It's a small victory.
Yeah.
You said nowadays you take sort of going on stage in your stride. Have you at any point ever suffered from stage fright?
I mean, I don't know how you necessarily define the stage fright, but I know I used to when I'd first got there.
We used to get really nervous just playing the pubs and things like that. And I think
it took us a while. I think especially, because we're a 4-piece, all of our instruments are very clear. There's nowhere to hide. I think, say we had another guitarist and then we had, I don't know, some people on horns or other strings or anything, you can sort of fall into the background a little bit. But I think because there's just 4 of us and the type of music, we just have to go out there and go full force. And it was very daunting to begin with. But I think when we realized that, because as I said, we sort of came from never intending to do this. And when we realized people actually quite like what we're doing, I think that was sort of the turning point where we were like, okay, we must be all right. And then it became a little bit easier.
I think we've all done things in the past, haven't we, as well? Like, I don't know, you've done band before, like, we've all done a few things. I've done a few shows before. We've all done things that have, I don't know, we've all been on stage before at various points. So I think those first few gigs are a bit daunting, especially like the first gig we played was like 3 hours long, and it was like, well, if the first hour goes badly, we're in trouble. You know, that was a bit daunting, but it's just
3 hours set.
Yeah, of covers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not about yeah. We haven't got 3 hours in
yeah, I mean that was a big leap. But,
the other thing as well is the amount of, like, I think we're all quite perfectionists, and there's been so many times where we've come off and been like, oh, did you notice that mistake? And then you talk to people who are there and are like, didn't notice a thing. So it's like, unless you are really messing something up,
you know what it sounds
you're
like.
Probably okay. You're just being picky about yourself.
I think you have to be musically minded to hear a band slip up. Like, I could go to a gig. I watched a band rehearse at the weekend, and they were saying, oh, the lead guitarist did this wrong and that wrong and something else, and I couldn't hear any of it. So I was standing in their rehearsal space, heard it, thought it sounded perfect. So I think you have to be kind of a musician to hear the sort of small mistakes.
Yeah,
but I'm guessing to you guys, when you're up there, you think, I've just screwed that up, and you can pick up on it, and you think everyone else in the room has heard it.
I'm really bad for it. I give it away every time, like, because I immediately, what I'll do is I'll turn around and look at them. I'll be like, which I shouldn't do really. It's a big giveaway. I just sort of like think, oh, they didn't do that the same.
Yeah.
You've forgotten the words.
Yes. Oh yeah. A few times.
You're not too bad though.
Not too bad. I have.
We've done some covers of songs that are just ridiculously hard. We did "Fit But You Know It" by The Streets, which just seems to go on forever, and it's really loud. And I don't think I've seen you. Well, maybe once, but you definitely don't mess it up very often.
No,
I don't know how you remember that.
That one was like that was a real effort to learn, like thinking about that. But no, usually I'm pretty good. There's occasionally I have forgotten the words, but yeah.
No, I think you're good.
Usually pretty good.
No.
Do you still include covers in your sets now?
Rarely. We
depends what we're doing.
Might throw one in just to keep the crowd, but we don't really do covers now.
Yeah, it just depends as well on set length. Like if we wanted to be played just a little bit longer, we might throw one or two in just to get us up to a slightly longer set. But it's quite difficult, I think, in between when we start focusing on recording things and you want to get the songs really polished, then you end up parking writing for a bit. So sometimes if you get an opportunity, you just have to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. So when you do a cover, do you do covers that are quite true to your sound, or do you do sort of an ironic cover, make something that isn't in your genre?
I mean, we've done just about everything from every era, some of which is just like exactly how it sounds on the track, and others that sound nothing like it.
It's quite a long way from your style, so I would imagine do you either change that up, or do you just sing it as it is?
No, I sing it as it is.
Relatively as is. I mean,
we tend to play it
as much as I can sound like that. Yeah.
When we're playing longer sets, we'll put it in at the end. It's also like you kind of have to measure the crowd. You know, over 40 will probably just knock that one on the head. But yeah, it's one that goes down really well when everyone's really drunk. So we've got you like that where you just pull them out. But, I mean, we've got
generally we fit when we do the covers in our original sets. They're relatively true to ours.
It's a fairly indie set.
Fontaines, DC, or Black Keys,
Cinnamon.
It's fun. They sort of tend to.
And then we just throw in like Elvis, Black Sabbath.
I was going to say we would have that Black Sabbath to Miley Cyrus. So
we don't really.
Some of the pubs you play in, and you just see some of the people like, oh, we'll play one that they'll like as well.
We just do it. We often just pick someone that we all like, don't we? And we're like, let's do that. And
the pub is different because often in a pub you're playing to a drinking crowd rather than a music crowd.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was when we were doing those covers. It's like we're thinking on not just what do we want to play, but what are people going to want to hear?
What do they want to hear on the night out?
Yeah, it's not like our focus at all now. We still occasionally play them just in places where we get a lot of people who come and see us.
Yeah.
Play a few of our original ones, remind them that we're still here.
Yeah, because Cambridge is getting better for music now, isn't it? Music scene seems to be getting a lot more. I lived there for a while, and nowadays it seems to have a lot more venues, a lot more sort of support for live music. Because when I was there, it was mainly Junction 1 and 2, and then the Corn Exchange.
Yeah, no, definitely. You've got the 6-6 now, which obviously we played earlier in the year. Portland Arms as well. I know they do gigs at Tall Trees. There's quite a few just sort of popping up.
Well, isn't there? Whatever MASH is.
Where was that? Sorry.
And you called MASH? I keep seeing popping up.
I haven't heard it. I think I've heard it as like a club night, but I don't know if I've seen it as a.
Okay.
Write that down.
Do you ever get out of sort of Cambridgeshire area? Oh, you said you played at Lexington, but do you get out sort of around East Anglia much?
We haven't really. We've sort of gone Cambridge and then got
Bedford as well.
Yeah, we did Bedford, Hitchin, London.
Yeah,
but we haven't. It's kind of next on our agenda, isn't it? To branch out,
spreading a bit more.
Yeah, it's a few venues that we've got our eye on, sort of a bit more east way,
Norwich way.
Yeah. Well, there's like Bury, St Albans, Norwich have all got good venues that
Ipswich is getting better as well.
Yeah.
So we've got the Smokehouse now, which is fantastic, tiny little venue.
Yeah, I think that's something we need to keep doing. It's just sort of like spreading out a bit. Like you said, we've got places that are sort of we've played at and have asked us back, and things we've done that people want us back and things like that. And we love doing that, but it's also about getting out to new places as well, seeing finding new places for us.
Are you playing Willowfest this year in Peterborough?
No. If we are, we're not going to No, we're not. I think this year, with festivals, we sort of were a bit late to the party a little bit.
Yeah.
So we didn't release our debut single until January. So up until that point, it's kind of tricky when you're talking to promoters and bookers to be like, look, we're this band, just trust me, we're good. Like, it doesn't really work.
Definitely.
So until you've got some music recorded
and a bit of traction behind it as well.
Yeah, if you've got no social media following things like that, then there's 100 other bands that are as good as you.
So much music out there now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think by the time we spoke to a few, but most of them by that point have sort of got their lineups sorted. I think kind of learned that if you want to get to a festival, you wait until the autumn, and that's the point where they're going to start booking.
Ready for next year.
Yeah, I mean, we did Strawberry Fair, obviously, and we've got Buckfest, which is another Cambridgeshire one that we're playing. That's next month, isn't it, in July? So, we're really lucky to just get asked to play 2 of them, and I think for us that's a really good step, and we'll build on that next summer and hopefully get
100%
a load booked in.
And next year. I think that's got to be something for us as well, just making sure we get on that circuit early enough, basically. Don't miss that boat. Yeah.
If you could support any band, who would you like to support?
Arctic Monkeys for me.
I don't know. You wouldn't want to be backstage with Alex Turner.
I would.
No, he wouldn't give you the time of day.
He wouldn't talk to you.
Hi, Alex. Who would I support? I don't know. I don't want to say too big, because if you go too big, they won't care about you. So you'd be like 4th down the line or something.
Definitely not Royal Blood.
No, not Royal Blood. I'd like to support Idols, because they seem like a lot of fun, but they take their music really seriously. They've worked really hard to get where they are, and I think it's sort of followed a similar work ethic with us. We've had to put a lot of work in outside of our jobs and things, and I think it sort of matches where we are. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I would say Ratings probably for the same reason, because I mean they release all of their music completely independently, like without any label backing. I think having tried to do like one small part of what they've managed to do, and realize how really difficult it is, and how much work, effort, money, it's quite something to be able to do that.
They'll respect us and take some tour with them. Please.
Have you ever had, has a fan ever come up to you during a gig and asked you anything particularly strange, or said anything particularly sweet, or anything sort of out the ordinary, quirky?
Any strange or quirky fan interactions?
I don't know.
We did get asked for our autograph that one time.
You did. Bands in the park.
Yeah.
Just trying to think.
I don't think so. Not particularly.
Not really strange or anything like that.
No, nothing too weird.
Have
some really nice
Can you play this song?
And Sam is quick to bark back. We do not do requests.
No.
It's just awkward when we are actually going to play that song.
Yeah. Later. But,
are they asking for your songs or asking for covers when they ask for a song?
We've had both.
Yeah.
And I mean, when someone actually asks for our songs now, I think it's only the last few months that we're sort of getting used to that. It was very surreal because we sort of just go out every gig assuming no one knows who we are. So when people do start knowing, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, people do listen to us.
And I think in terms of like the nicer moments, I think the first time we sort of saw people singing along to one of our songs, that's probably the nicest moment we've had, and it's really surreal to think.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when we were at Squires as well, sort of one of our songs was, sort of that got a far better reception than the covers, didn't it? In terms of like people wanted to hear that song, which is really
fantastic. That's brilliant.
Nice. I mean, it wasn't an original set, wasn't it? There was one cover.
Yeah, we only
played
one cover.
But it was nice for that to be
we
the
were
one.
Better than it.
Yeah, people were excited to hear that song. But that was really fun.
Cool. What are you working on at the moment? Sort of what does the future hold for you guys?
So we're in the studio at the moment. We're in the studio on Sunday. So we've got 4 more tracks that we've started laying down. We're going to finish them in July, get them mixed and mastered, and then release all of them as our first EP. Then hopefully get signed, get massive, Millionaires.
Yeah, it's still going to come in after that. Yeah.
Is the end game for music to be your full-time job?
But no.
First EP.
Yeah. Get the EP done. Then I think probably start focusing on writing a bit more music. I think because we've had a bit of a break from writing just because of gigs and recording and things.
We've been lucky that actually since January really, we've been really busy with gigging and trying to focus on getting these songs ready to be recorded, that we just haven't actually sat down together and done it properly in 3 or 4 months now.
And the stuff that we have, I know everyone has to, like, I don't know, you two, I know definitely have things on like the back burner that have just been left there for a little while because the other stuff has taken precedence. But it'd be nice to get back to doing some more original songs, because that's a lot. I love it when we do that, when we start to put together a new song. That's one of the most fun things.
So is the end goal to do this as a full-time career? Is that the dream?
Oh yeah, I think a dream's a better way of saying it. I don't think any of us are sitting here thinking that's any sort of reality. I think we're very much in the mindset we're loving doing it, and we'll keep doing it while people still enjoy it, and just see
how far we can go.
I think the more you get into it, the more you realise just how tough it is to try and gain some traction. There are like a million bands trying to do all the same things.
Yeah.
And most of them are probably good enough to do it. And it's, you know, sometimes people are just really, really good. Sometimes people are lucky.
Yeah.
You know, it is largely out of your control. So I think rather than us saying, yeah, we want to do this full time and earn loads of money, it's not really about that. I mean, we lose considerable amounts of money.
It'd just be nice for it to pay for itself, so you're not losing money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of got us largely self-sufficient.
Yeah, we're pretty.
It's working at the minute, isn't it?
The band makes money that it then burns through itself.
Well,
but like, we don't make anything from it. And then when you take away the amount you spend on equipment, you lose a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that.
But no, I think we're very focused on, we started out doing this because we enjoyed it. And I think every time we get up there and play a show, we love it. And for as long as we're doing that, if it gets bigger, great. But that's the main thing.
Yeah, you need to focus on the having fun part, because the moment you start focusing on money or focusing on whatever is the moment you stop having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like as well, sometimes it's just it's really, if we were going for what, a year and a half now, I think, like, you know, in terms of gigging and doing that, we've come so far in that time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, we've got the thing about EP later this year, some of the venues we're playing and things like that. You know, we've done a lot, really.
We never thought we'd do this.
No, so I didn't think it would go this far, so it's been really fun.
I think when we started the band, the dream was to play one of the local pubs.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, that was as far as we'd thought ahead.
It was.
Wow.
That was exactly where I wanted to
And
go.
you know, from there, it's like everything is almost like a bonus. You know, now we've got a taste for it. We want it to get bigger. We want to gain traction. We want people to enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's not the be all and end all. We've not got we must do this. Just keep going, keep enjoying it, see what happens.
Cool. And lastly, shamelessly plug your new EP.
You do your plug.
I don't know. Do we have a new EP?
We haven't got a name for it, have we?
No, we haven't really got a name for EP. I mean, the EP will be later this
Shamelessly
year.
plug your latest single.
Yeah, I was just plug the latest things. Yeah. So I want to work in a supermarket. Sort of a look at society and sort of the mind-numbing 9 to 5 of life of people. It's available now on all streaming platforms. So go ahead, give it a listen. I really like it. It's good.
It is quite good. I'm trying to think what else we can plug. Socials, if you want to follow us on social media, at Diamond Country Dance Club. Surprisingly, no one had taken that handle, so we were very fortunate to get it. You know, YouTube, we've got a couple of music videos out there if you want to have a look at that. And I think the next big gig is probably Spice of Life in Soho, which is August the 11th. It's a Friday night. It's a really cool venue. I think there's going to be a lot of really good bands there. Hopefully it'll be a sellout, and if you fancy it, come join us.
And when are you hoping the EP will be out? Have you got any date in mind for that at all?
I think it'll probably be sort of September, October.
Time, yeah.
When we can think of the name, it's going to hold us up.
We'll come up with them. You know, we came up with Diamond Country Dance Club, so you know we'll
probably be long.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thanks for talking.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.